Our first speaker today is perhaps the best known, most knowledgeable, and most active opponent of euthanasia and assisted suicide, not only in Canada, but maybe around the world as well. Co-founder and international chair of the Euthanasia Prevention Coalition, Alex Schadenberg.
Thank you very much, Gordon. So today we're coming in support of Bill C-218, Tamara Jansen's bill, which would reverse the approval of euthanasia for mental illness as a sole criteria. And when you look at this, what happened, as many people will be well aware, when Bill C-7 passed in March of 2021, that included approval for MAiD for mental illness alone as a sole criteria, but has been delayed now, and it will be delayed at this moment until March of 2027 as of the decision of the previous parliament. The problem with this is, of course, is that March of 2027, when it comes, this will be allowed, and this should never even be considered. And I'll give you several reasons for this right off the bat. First of all, I am opposed to killing people, but even off the very basic concept of MAiD for mental illness, that undermines the whole concept of whether someone can properly consent, whether they're truly consenting, whether they are of their right mind, whether there's alternatives for them. For instance, when we amended the law in 2021 to allow people who were not terminally ill, people who did not have a grievous and irremediable medical, when they did not have to have a terminal condition, what was remaining is that they had to have a grievous and irremediable medical condition. So then the assumption is that somebody who has mental health problems actually has got an irremediable medical condition. And psychiatrists are saying that's really not known. We can't predict that. Now, just so you know, this Bill C-218 only affects this section of the law. It would only prevent euthanasia for mental illness alone. But one other thing, though, when you look at this, is when we found out about Tamara Jansen's bill, we put out information to people who were who supported our work. We got a series of letters from a bunch of our supporters talking about their own times when they were going through significant mental illness, and are so happy that MAiD for mental illness was not available to them at that time. I got one letter from a woman named Andrea, and I think this letter was very important because she clearly would have qualified for MAiD based on somebody who might say she would have an irremediable medical condition, which in fact was not irremediable. And she talked about that, the fact that when she was younger, so she says twice in 2011, sorry, she had attempted suicide, and she was put in a psychiatric place for treatment. And then 3 more times, and then over 14 months between 2015 and 16, once again, she was receiving psychiatric care for her deep mental health issues. In her case, this was continuous. She talks about the fact that they said that it did not seem that she was reacting to treatment. So the whole concept of irremediability for someone who actually believes that's a criteria for MAiD for mental illness, she says she would have probably then qualified without a problem. The important thing is, over the years, her life has changed. And she's writing here, you know, I'm well now. She said in here, now this is a couple months ago, she sent this to me. She said she had just gotten married. She is having her first child. Her life has changed. She said she could never have predicted that in 2015 or 2016 or 2011 when she was receiving psychiatric care and it seemed that she was resistant to treatment, that she would be healthy, and she's healthy today. The point of it is that if it had been available then, she would have wanted it. As she says, Rick, I would have wanted it. I would have been dead. I would have never recovered. This is the problem. You can't allow MAiD in these conditions. I don't believe you should allow MAiD for any conditions, but this is very particular. It clearly undermines the concept of the freedom of choice, autonomy, and one's ability to consent. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Alex.